She doesn't walk the beaten path. She creates her own trail, carved from instinct, resilience, and clarity. In a world that demands women be quiet, agreeable, and easily defined, she is none of those things. She is not here to impress. She's here to be, unfiltered, unshaken, and entirely in command of her evolution. She's not misunderstood because she's unclear. She's misunderstood because she refuses to be small. Her power isn't loud, but it's unmistakable. Her silence speaks volumes, and her presence cannot be faked. Where others follow, she observes. Where others conform, she transforms. What some see as detachment is her discipline. What they call defiance is actually depth. She's not against the world, she's just no longer owned by it. This isn't rebellion, this is self-mastery, this isn't resistance, this is rebirth. You're not watching a woman rise. You're witnessing one who never needed permission in the first place. Subscribe to the Sigma Sisterhood, where evolution is the standard, and power speaks softly, but carries weight. 1. Born an outlier, forged by fire. She never quite fit in, and deep down, she knew that was her strength. From the very beginning, the Sigma female has walked a path most wouldn't dare. She didn't stumble into solitude. She was shaped by it. While others were busy blending in, she was quietly observing, questioning, noticing patterns most ignored. Not because she wanted to be different, but because she couldn't force herself to be anything less than real. The world tried to tame her. Teachers labeled her too intense. Peers called her distant. Even family members didn't always understand her need for space, her hunger for truth, or her refusal to play pretend. But where others saw defiance, what truly existed was discernment. She could see through the masks, the games, the social rules built to keep people in line, and she wanted no part of it. And so, she stood apart, not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. Every rejection became a lesson, every betrayal, a blueprint for sharper boundaries. Each lonely night wasn't wasted, it was training. While others feared isolation, she was sharpening her edge. She learned to listen to her own voice, even when it was the only one in the room. She learned that peace is louder than chaos, and that silence holds more wisdom than empty validation. What others mistook for coldness was her clarity. What they saw as rebellion was actually resilience. She didn't need the crowd to feel seen. She didn't need applause to feel worthy. Her worth was never up for debate. It was carved into her bones the moment she decided she wouldn't trade authenticity for acceptance. This isn't a woman who craves attention. This is a woman who survived the fire and used it to forge armor. She's not an outsider by accident. She's an outlier by design. And in a world that tries to shape women into something soft and safe, her presence is a quiet rebellion, one that doesn't scream to be noticed but simply can't be ignored. This is where her journey begins, and she's just getting started. 2. She's both shadow and light. She doesn't run from her darkness, she studies it. While most people spend their lives hiding their flaws, polishing their image, and pretending to be okay, the Sigma female takes a different approach. She knows that power doesn't come from perfection, it comes from depth. Real strength isn't about always being positive or polished. It's about owning every part of yourself, even the parts that aren't easy to love. She understands her light, her compassion, her wisdom, her softness, but she's just as familiar with her shadow. Her rage, her grief, her past wounds, they're not weaknesses. They're sources of power she's learned to master. Where others bury their pain, she mines it for truth. Where others run from their anger, she turns it into fuel. She knows the danger of extremes. People who only embrace the light become fragile. They fall apart the moment life doesn't go their way. People who live in darkness lose themselves, mistaking pain for identity. But she walks the line between both, using each side as a tool, not a trap. Her shadow gives her edge. Her light gives her warmth. Together they make her unstoppable. She is the woman who can hold space for someone's pain without drowning in it. She can show empathy without being manipulated, forgive without forgetting, and love without losing herself. Her balance is rare, and that's why people can't figure her out. She doesn't fit their narrow boxes of too nice or too cold. She's both, depending on who you are and how you treat her. To those who deserve her softness, she is a haven. To those who mistake it for weakness, she becomes untouchable. She's not afraid of the dark because she's walked through it and made peace with it. She's faced her demons, named them, and disarmed them. That's why no one else can use them against her. Her power is not in pretending to be above the messiness of life. It's in owning every piece of it and still choosing to rise. She is not divided between light and dark. She is made from both, and that makes her whole. 3. She never stops evolving. Change isn't something she fears, it's something she craves. While the world tells women to settle down, to pick a lane and stay in it, the Sigma female knows she was never meant to stay the same. She is not someone who peaks once and holds on to that version of herself forever. She doesn't cling to titles, identities, or routines that no longer serve her. When it's time to grow, she grows, even if it means leaving comfort behind. This woman treats every experience as a tool for transformation. The heartbreak, that taught her discernment. The failure, it sharpened her focus. The setback, it made her unstoppable. Nothing is wasted in her world. Every challenge becomes fuel. Every detour becomes a lesson. She is in a constant state of refining, sharpening, and evolving. And the best part? She does it on her own terms. She doesn't grow to impress. She doesn't chase transformation for attention or applause. Her evolution is deeply personal. It's an inner calling, a quiet refusal to remain stagnant in a world that punishes progress. While others fear outgrowing people, jobs, or outdated beliefs, she knows that staying still is the real danger. People often feel unsettled around her because they can't predict her. That's the point. She isn't here to fit into expectations. She's here to transcend them. She doesn't cling to who she used to be. She's too focused on who she's becoming. While others resist change to feel safe, she embraces it to feel alive. Growth, for her, isn't an option. It's instinct. And that's why she's always evolving into someone stronger, sharper, and more aligned than she was yesterday. She knows the truth. The moment you stop growing, you start fading. And she has no intention of fading. 4. She can't be bought, owned, or controlled. Control is the game, but she never signed up to play. The Sigma female doesn't move based on fear, pressure, or manipulation. While many people are subtly conditioned to seek approval, please others, or play roles that aren't true to them, she rejects that script completely. She's immune to tactics that work on most people. Guilt trips, emotional games, power plays, they fall flat. Because she's not driven by external validation, she's anchored in self-respect. You can't bribe her with flattery, you can't intimidate her into silence, and you sure as hell can't control her through fear. In relationships, she doesn't stay out of obligation. If love turns into a cage, she'll walk away without hesitation. Her freedom is not up for negotiation. Her loyalty is earned, not demanded. In professional settings, she's the one who doesn't play politics. She doesn't kiss up to climb ladders. She rises on competence, vision, and confidence. That makes her a threat to those who rely on hierarchy and ego. And when they realize she won't bend for titles or praise, they label her difficult because they can't control her. Socially, she doesn't conform to fit in. She doesn't change her opinions to match the group. She's comfortable standing alone if it means standing in truth. People don't intimidate her. Lies do. And she'll never shrink herself to be more palatable for those who haven't done the work. This woman cannot be bought, silenced, or shaped by someone else's hands. And that terrifies people used to pulling strings. But her strength isn't in opposition. It's in ownership. She doesn't resist to prove a point. She simply refuses to abandon herself. No amount of status, money, or pressure can make her trade authenticity for approval. She's not cold. She's clear. She's not defiant. She's decisive. And that's why she remains untouchable. 5. She learns and unlearns faster than anyone else. Most people cling to what they've always known. She lets go the moment it stops serving her. The Sigma female is a rapid adapter, not just because she's intelligent, but because she's unafraid to question everything, even herself. While others protect outdated beliefs like sacred relics, she dissects hers without hesitation. If a mindset no longer aligns with her evolution, she doesn't defend it. She discards it. This is what makes her dangerous in the best way. She's not just a fast learner, she's an expert unlearner. She doesn't hold on to perspectives out of pride or fear. She has no loyalty to stagnation. To her, wisdom isn't about collecting information, it's about transformation. She'll abandon a belief overnight if it limits her growth. No guilt, no second guessing. People find this unsettling because they mistake consistency for integrity. But she knows better. Clinging to outdated truths just to appear stable is a form of self-sabotage. She doesn't evolve for applause. She evolves because stillness feels like a slow death. This agility of mind is her superpower. While others get stuck repeating the same mistakes, trapped in cycles of emotional reactivity or inherited thinking, she upgrades her mindset like it's second nature. She questions everything, her habits, her history, even her inherited definitions of success, love, and power. That's why she always seems 10 steps ahead. She's not bound by tradition or social scripts. She doesn't carry beliefs that weigh her down. Her path is light because she travels without mental baggage. She sees through manipulation fast. She recognizes subtle shifts in energy. She connects dots most miss because her mind is always in motion. People expect her to be predictable. She's not, because she's not interested in staying the same for their comfort. She knows this truth. Those who evolve fastest rule the future. And the Sigma female? She's already there. 6. She's the ultimate threat to fragile egos. She doesn't shrink herself, and that alone shakes people to their core. The Sigma female is a living mirror. She reflects back to others what they don't want to see in themselves. Insecure people rely on flattery, control, or dominance to feel powerful. She offers none of that. And that makes her a threat. Not because she attacks, but because she simply doesn't play along. She doesn't stroke egos to get ahead. She doesn't nod in fake agreement. She doesn't flatter someone just because they expect it. Her presence alone disrupts the dynamic because she refuses to give power where it hasn't been earned. People with fragile egos crave submission. They want approval disguised as respect. But she doesn't bow. She assesses. And if what she sees is arrogance masking insecurity or manipulation dressed as leadership, she silently walks away. She doesn't waste energy exposing people. She doesn't argue to prove a point. Her silence often cuts deeper than any insult ever could. The moment someone tries to dominate, deceive, or demean her, she doesn't react. She detaches. That's what scares them the most. They can't bait her. They can't manipulate her. They can't figure out why they feel so powerless in her presence. But the answer is simple. She doesn't play by rules designed to keep others in charge. She plays her own game and wins by refusing to compete for validation. Her calm unnerves people. Her clarity disarms them. Her ability to stay centered while others spiral is seen as cold, even ruthless. But the truth is, she simply doesn't hand her power to anyone who hasn't earned her trust. And those who rely on emotional chaos to maintain control? They're the ones most rattled by her energy. She is the woman who doesn't flinch, doesn't falter, doesn't flatter. And fragile egos? They don't know what to do with someone they can't manipulate. 7. She's a living paradox, soft but untouchable. She is the kind of woman that confuses people, and that's exactly why she's powerful. At first glance, the Sigma female might appear gentle. She listens with presence. She speaks with intention. Her energy is calm, collected, almost nurturing. But beneath that softness lies a kind of strength most people never see coming. The moment someone mistakes her kindness for weakness, they meet a different side of her, a side that doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, and doesn't break. She is a paradox, a blend of warmth and steel, empathy and logic. She can be deeply compassionate and yet completely untouchable. People expect women to be either one or the other, tender or tough, emotional or rational, but she moves seamlessly between both. This duality is not a contradiction, it's her power. She chooses when to be soft, she chooses when to be sharp. Nothing about her reactions is accidental. If she opens up to you, it's because you've earned it. If she walks away without explanation, it's because you didn't. She doesn't owe access to anyone, and she doesn't use vulnerability as currency. Her boundaries are invisible but unbreakable. She knows how to hold space for others without abandoning herself. She can care deeply without losing her center. People find this confusing. How can someone be so open yet so unreadable? So grounded, yet so fluid? The answer: she's not performing for anyone. She doesn't overshare to feel validated. She doesn't reveal her inner world to people who haven't proven they can protect it. She's emotionally intelligent, not emotionally reckless. Her mystery isn't a tactic, it's protection. Her softness isn't submission, it's choice. That's why she's impossible to manipulate. You can't guilt-trip her into revealing more. You can't sweet-talk your way past her defenses. You can't pressure her into proving herself. She holds her power quietly, but fully. And when necessary, she withdraws it without explanation. People either admire her or resent her, but no one ever forgets her. She is soft, but she's never exposed. She is kind, but never a pushover. She gives, but only to those who give back. And that's what makes her untouchable. 8. She's no longer just evolving. She's become unstoppable. There comes a moment in every Sigma female's journey where something shifts. She stops striving to become and starts being. This isn't arrogance, it's arrival. After years of shedding false identities, outgrowing people, and burning outdated beliefs to the ground, she reaches a level of self-mastery that cannot be shaken. She no longer seeks to be understood. She no longer needs to prove her worth. She's not evolving to fit into anything anymore. She's evolved into everything she was always meant to be. What once felt like growth now feels like embodiment. She doesn't chase anymore, she attracts. She doesn't explain anymore, she decides. Her movements are sharper, her choices quieter, and her energy louder than ever. People feel her presence before she speaks. They know not to play games because she sees through them effortlessly now. That's what happens when a woman has been through the fire and came out not just alive, but refined. She no longer lets the past define her or the future distract her. She owns the present with complete authority. There's nothing left to prove, no one left to impress, and no desire to shrink just to make others feel comfortable. She has become a force. When people try to guilt her, it doesn't work. When they try to flatter her, it doesn't move her. When they try to provoke her, it falls flat. Because she doesn't react, she responds, and only when it's worth it. She's done asking for seats at tables she could build better. Done apologizing for how much space she takes up. Done explaining herself to people who lack the depth to understand her. She's not bitter. She's not guarded. She's simply clear. Clear on who she is, what she wants, and what she'll never tolerate again. Her growth has evolved into presence. Her ambition has turned into focus. Her scars have become symbols, not of damage but of survival. And now, she walks with a kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud to be respected. She's not trying to rise anymore. She has risen. And from this point on, she is no longer evolving for survival. She is evolving for dominance. The world has spent generations trying to define what a woman should be. Quiet but kind, pretty but passive, strong but not too strong. The Sigma female shatters all of that. She's not here to adjust herself to outdated standards. She's here to evolve beyond them. Her journey was never about rebellion. It was about reclamation. She reclaimed her time, her energy, her voice, and her worth. Not because someone handed her permission, but because she realized she didn't need any. She moved through solitude, through rejection, through silence and shadows, and emerged not bitter, but brilliant, not hardened, but honed. She is what happens when a woman chooses self-respect over approval, truth over comfort, and evolution over ease. And now, she no longer fears being misunderstood. She embraces it. Because being misunderstood is a small price to pay for living in full alignment with who she truly is. She doesn't try to be liked. She aims to be authentic. She doesn't aim to fit in. She leads herself. She is not defined by her past, her pain, or the roles others tried to place on her. She has rewritten the rules, reframed the narrative, and stepped fully into her power. Her strength is not just in what she's survived, but in how she chose to rise. To walk the path of a Sigma female is not easy. It requires a kind of honesty, courage, and solitude most people aren't willing to face. But for those who do, the reward is everything. Clarity, freedom, power, peace. She doesn't exist to make the world comfortable. She exists to make it wake up. So if you're on this path, keep walking, don't shrink, don't explain, don't wait for the world to catch up. Let them watch, let them whisper, let them wonder. Because once a woman realizes she doesn't need anyone's permission to be powerful, she becomes unstoppable. This is not just a mindset, it's a movement. This is the Sigma sisterhood, and this is only the beginning.